You knew they were talking. Not because you heard every word, not because someone always came back and reported the full conversation, but because you have been around people long enough to read the room. The way certain conversations stopped when you walked in, the way certain people looked at each other when you spoke about what you were working toward, the way the energy shifted in specific spaces when you were present, as if your confidence in something they had privately decided was not going to work made them uncomfortable in a way they could not quite hide. They were whispering about your choices, about your path, about whether what you were reaching for was realistic, whether you were overestimating yourself, whether the outcome you were expecting was genuinely going to materialize, or whether you were going to end up having to quietly revise your expectations downward the way they had already privately predicted. And you kept moving anyway, not because you were unaware of what was being said, but because something in you had already decided that what other people said about your potential in private was not the information you were going to build your direction on. You kept showing up, kept working, kept believing with a quietness that some people probably misread as not knowing what was being said about you. You knew, you just were not worried. Stay with me until the end, because what I want to share about why that lack of worry was actually wisdom rather than naivety, and what is about to become evident to everyone who was whispering, is the most important part of this message. Drop an amen in the comments right now if you have been aware of people doubting you privately while you kept moving forward publicly. Like this video, because this word needs to reach every chosen one who has carried the weight of private doubt from people around them without letting it change their direction. And subscribe to this channel, because what is about to become visible in your life is going to require you to be spiritually grounded in how you carry it. And every message here is built to help you do exactly that. Let me start by talking about the whispers themselves, because I think naming what they actually were matters for how you carry what is coming. Whispers behind closed doors are almost never purely about the person being whispered about. They are almost always at least partly about the person doing the whispering, about their own relationship with risk and hope and the possibility of outcomes that exceed what they have been willing to reach for in their own lives. When someone watches another person pursue something significant, something that requires genuine faith and genuine risk, it activates something in them that is about their own unlived potential as much as it is about any real assessment of yours. This does not mean the people who whispered about you were necessarily malicious. Some of them probably were not. Some of them whispered from genuine concern, filtered through the limits of their own imagination of what was possible. Some of them whispered from a place of comparison that they would not have named as envy, but that functioned like it. Some of them whispered simply because uncertainty about outcomes makes people want to prepare each other for disappointment, even when the preparation is more about their own discomfort with hope than your actual likelihood of failing. Understanding this does not require you to be angry at them. It simply gives you a more accurate picture of what was actually happening in those closed-door conversations. The subject was you, but the real content was them. Now, let me talk about what your lack of worry during this season actually represented, because I think it deserves to be properly named. It was not ignorance. You knew what was being said. It was not arrogance. You were not certain of outcomes in a way that dismissed the genuine difficulty of what you were pursuing.
It was a specific kind of faith that has a name in the spirit, and that name is settled confidence. The kind that does not need external validation to remain intact. The kind that is not dependent on the people around you agreeing with your direction in order to keep moving in it. The kind that can hold both the genuine uncertainty of an outcome and the genuine conviction that the direction is right simultaneously, without one of those things destroying the other. That settled confidence is not something you can manufacture through effort or positive thinking. It is built through a specific process, through having your own prior convictions tested and finding that they held. Through the experience of moving forward on something without sufficient external support and watching it not collapse the way the whispers predicted it would. Through repeated encounters with your own capacity that gradually gave you a more accurate picture of what you were actually capable of than the one the closed-door conversations were working from. You built it the hard way, and what is coming is going to vindicate it publicly. Here is what I believe is about to happen, and I want to be specific because you have earned the specificity. The thing you have been working toward, the direction you kept moving in despite the whispers, is about to produce results that are visible enough that the people who were in those closed-door conversations cannot avoid encountering them. Not because you set out to prove anyone wrong, you did not. You were too busy moving forward to spend significant energy on that. But because genuine forward movement, sustained over enough time, produces outcomes that eventually become impossible to miss from any vantage point, including the vantage point of people who had already privately written off the possibility of those outcomes. There is going to be a moment, and it may come in stages rather than all at once, where the visible evidence of where your direction actually led begins to reach the people who doubted it privately. And that moment is going to require something specific from you that I want to speak to directly. Carry it without performing it. The temptation in a moment of public vindication after private doubt is to let the visibility of the outcome do a kind of work that you would not do directly, to post certain things, to show up in certain rooms, to let the evidence of what happened be deployed in a way that is really about making sure the specific people who whispered can see it clearly. That temptation is understandable, and it is human, and it deserves to be acknowledged honestly rather than pretended away. But acting on it costs something. It transforms your breakthrough from evidence of genuine faithfulness into a transaction, where the real return being sought is their acknowledgement rather than the actual fruit of what you built. And a breakthrough that is primarily being used for that purpose tends to feel hollow even when it looks satisfying from the outside. Carry it with the same quiet dignity you carried the waiting. Let the visibility be what it is. Let the people who need to see it without arranging for them to see it. Trust that what is real has a way of reaching the right eyes without being staged for them. Drop an amen in the comments right now if you are committing to carry what is coming with the same quietness and dignity that you carried the season that preceded it. I also want to speak to something about the people who were whispering in terms of how you relate to them once the visibility shifts. Some of them are going to come forward. Not all of them, but some of the people who were in those closed-door conversations are going to find a way to be present at the moment of your breakthrough or in its immediate aftermath. Some of them are going to express genuine happiness for you. Some of them are going to express something that sounds like happiness, but is really them repositioning in relation to you now that the evidence has changed. And some are going to stay conspicuously silent, which is its own form of communication. None of these responses require a particular reaction from you. You do not owe the ones who come forward with sudden enthusiasm a warning that you noticed what was happening before. You do not owe the ones who stay silent a confrontation about what they said. And you do not owe anyone an explanation of how you managed to keep moving when the room was not behind you.
Your presence and what comes next is sufficient. What you do with the breakthrough is the response to everything that was whispered, not what you say about it, what you do with it. Father, I come before you on behalf of every chosen one who has kept moving forward in the quiet awareness that people around them were doubting them privately. I thank you for the settled confidence that sustained them through seasons where external agreement was not available. I thank you that the direction they kept moving in was not wrong, and that what is becoming visible now is the fruit of faithfulness that continued even when the room was not supportive. I pray for the grace to carry what is coming without performing it, for the wisdom to receive genuine expressions of support, and to release the ones that are more about repositioning than actual relationship.
for the continued settled confidence that does not need the validation of the people who were whispering any more than it needed their agreement during the season of building. I declare that what is about to become visible is a genuine reflection of what was built through genuine faithfulness, and that it carries a weight and a longevity that the whispers never had the capacity to predict or prevent. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. The people who whispered about you behind closed doors are about to see why you were never worried. Not because you were certain of every outcome, because you had decided that their assessment of your potential was not the information you were going to navigate by. Because you had built enough settled confidence through enough prior testing to keep moving without requiring their agreement. That was not naivety, that was wisdom, and what is becoming visible now is the evidence of it. Carry it quietly, let it be what it is, and move forward into what comes next with the same settled dignity that brought you to this moment. The whispers could not stop what was built in faithfulness. They never could. Like this video if you have been moving forward in the quiet awareness of private doubt from the people around you. Share it with someone who has been carrying the weight of closed-door conversations about their potential and needs to know that weight was never theirs to carry. And drop an amen in the comments if you are choosing to carry what is coming with the same quiet confidence that carried you through the season before it. They whispered. Now they will see. And how you carry that moment is going to be the most powerful thing about it.